Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Cooking with Unity. So, with our last project, let me just open up our main game thing. Last episode we got wrapping working in our Asteroids-style game. So, one of my viewers actually noted that there is a bug with our little wrapping system. Basically, if a object is halfway off the screen and you try and shoot at it in a awkward direction, because it's not actually on your side of the screen, the collision won't work. And we're probably not going to fix that this episode. We're probably not going to fix it at all. It's kind of a minor case, but that being said, it might be a good thing to try and fix yourself if you want to see if you can get a solution working. I thought of a couple ways you could do it. You could either just have additional collision boxes attached to each object at the proper ranges, or you could create a collision or do a sphere check or something on the opposite of the side of the screen in the case when you're transitioning. Or we could have done it instead of using the 9 camera technique, do the 9 duplicate object technique, but that has its own set of problems too, which is the reason I avoided it on the show. Alright, so this is what we got going. We also have a little enemy ship. Let me turn him back on. And I'd like to wrap this one up today. It's kind of been around for a while, and I'd like to move on to something else. But what we're gonna do to wrap it up is we're gonna actually have levels. So, like, if you shoot all the asteroids, it'll generate a new level. Hopefully with some sort of difficulty curve. We're going to have a spawn system for these enemies, so that they actually will spawn and do things, as opposed to just having one right at the start. And their spawn rate will be, again, based on whatever difficulty curve system that we do. And I'd like to add sound, just some basic stuff, just some pews and explosions type stuff. So hopefully we'll have enough time to do all that. So let's start with figuring out how to make the difficulty curve on this thing work. So we currently have pre-populated large asteroids. We're gonna make everything be generated. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these things from the scene. And I'm going to delete our enemy ship. And actually, I'm going to create a prefab for the player ship, because I just realized we don't have one of those. And we'll want to do that so that we can have it so when you die, you have lives or something. We might have a live system or something. And then every time I open my mouth, there's a new feature added to this game. So hopefully we'll get through it. So let's create a new empty game object to house whatever logic we're going to have. So we're going to call this the asteroids spawner. Let's start with asteroids. Spawner. All right. And we're going to create a new script called Asteroids Spawner. Alright. Gonna wait for this to go here. I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger. Hopefully it'll stay that way. Probably won't. In my experience with model behavior, it hates staying any particular way. That hum is my computer. I'm actually going to put this little fan on. Hopefully it's not going to bother the audio too much. And I'm turning that off. That sounds like a jet engine. Alright, so that's... Hopefully my computer won't overheat and start acting slow, which is what it likes to do on Mac OS. So asteroid spawner. Let's put a couple of variables in to work with first. So public, float... Actually, let's see. Let's do public int level. We could make this a private int, but this will allow us to test later levels just by changing this. And we'll start at 0 because I like counting from 0 for some reason. This is not something that's going to be forward-facing. We're not going to say what level it is on the screen. If we did, I'd probably go with 1 just to not confuse people. So there's the level. There's, let's see, how about public int asteroids per level. And actually, no, we're going to start this at 1. I lied. I do that sometimes. Maybe. Yeah. Asteroids per level. And let's default this to... 1's excessive, but... oh, wait. Okay, that's an int. Well, we have to make it 1. Per level is probably not a good way of doing this, because we probably don't want it to advance 1 asteroid every level. And if we were doing it as an int, we'd have to do more than 1. We could do it as a float and round up, but yeah, let's not worry about this stuff yet. Let's just work on something else. So start. All right, another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to actually make this a public static int level, and the reason I'm going to do that. Well, that means it doesn't show up in the inspector. Alright. May have to show you how to do a singleton in this episode, so hold on to your butts on that one. And we're going to be heavily pilfering from the internet for that, so... Alright, so we'll just start with the level. So what we're going to do at the start is spawn our asteroids. Spawn our asteroids. So we're going to have an instantiate call here. And we're going to need asteroid references. Public game object asteroid. In the tradition of asteroid games, it will only spawn large asteroids. All the smaller pieces will be built from shooting down the large asteroids. So we're going to be instantiating at least 1 asteroid, so this is one of the things we're going to be doing here. And we're going to need a position for it. So what we can do is we can figure out the smallest bounds vertically or horizontally. Or, man, I should have thought about this before we started the episode. I don't know, there's a few different ways we could look at it. We could just do a very simple case first, which just spawns it in a radius, which is what I'm going to start with. So we'll do transform dot, well, actually, no, let's just do, we'll just assume 0, 0 is where the center of the screen is. So we can just do random dot... inside unit sphere times spawn radius. Go ahead and put spawn radius as a thing. Public float spawn radius. And let's default this to 5. I don't know. Here, what do our numbers look like here if we oh yeah, compiler errors. Don't do this. So if we fly our player ship that no longer exists in the scene, we fly our player ship around. Actually, we're going to leave the player ship in the scene for right now. So yeah, 30 and about 16. So let's do 16 as the extent. So let's just do the default. We'll do 15 because it sounds more even though it is not even at all. Funny how brains work like that. And we'll just do quaternion dot identity because it doesn't really matter what the orientation of the asteroids is. So this spawns 1 asteroid. So we're going to want a number of asteroids. And how are we going to best do that to allow for the level progression to be nice? well, for int I equals 0, I is less than level times so there's probably going to be about 3 in the first level. We don't want that to double in the second level. Well, let's just have 1 per level for right now. Let's just do I is less than level I plus plus. So here's where we're going to put our spawn logic. And we'll just do this for right now. So level. Probably should have a level manager. This will probably do more than just asteroid spawning. It'll probably handle game state as well. Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's call this the level manager actually. We're gonna make it a little bit monolithic on this one. So level manager, let's change the name over here before we forget. And now this thing has to reload everything. Let's open it up one more time. And 5.0F there. Alright, so this will spawn our asteroids. And let's make it so that if we destroy all the asteroids... So first of all, I remember that we set up the asteroids to actually be marked as tagged as asteroids, but we only did it with the large ones, so I'm fixing that right now so it doesn't bite us in the butt later, which it would. Also, I'm putting that at 0 even though it means nothing. So at any point we'll check to see if there's no asteroids left, so we're just going to do this in the simplest way possible. So game object dot find game objects with tag. Actually, we don't even need to do find game objects with tag. Let's just do find game object with tag, and then asteroid. Now, this this will return something that won't work with an if statement. So we'll can we actually just cast this to a bool? I don't think we can. That would be nice, but so we'll just do. Actually, that's perfect because if it doesn't find the object, it will return null. So actually, so if not find game object find with tag asteroids, then we increment the level. So level equals 2, or level plus plus level equals 2. That'll work once. And actually, I'm going to put this in a separate thing here. We're going to do void spawn asteroids. I'm just going to throw this into here. We're going to call spawn asteroids at the start, and level plus plus and spawn asteroids. So let's see how this actually looks. Got an error. Oh, wait. What's spawn radius? Oh, how did that happen? Alright, so there we go. Once this is done compiling, we're going to throw our asteroid spawner, or sorry, level manager script onto the asteroid spawner. We're going to rename asteroid spawner to level manager. And actually, I'm going to put a $sign on it. So the reason I'm doing that is for organization purposes. It'll show up at the very top of the list, and that way you can immediately see all of the things that are kind of global for the scene. So so this should do something if we hit play. Oh, no it won't, because we didn't actually assign asteroid to our asteroid object. So large asteroid. Bam. Hit play. And we should see one asteroid. And as soon as we kill all of that one asteroid. Was I shoot? Why am I shooting through that? Wait, what? What the deuce? Alright. So the medium asteroids are now working, right? Let's see. Sphere Collider, they have that. Alright. Doesn't have to be a trigger, evidently. Let's see what else. Freeze position, see, that's fine. Wrap to screen. That does the teleporting, right? So, what's the deal? Layer default. What do we have on the big asteroids? Still layer default. Anything special happening on with bullet? Huh. Alright, well, let's try it again and see what happens. Oh! Yeah. If we look at the values for this asteroid, we're going to find that it is not in the same Z-plane as our player. See, our player's shooting in the wrong part. Phil is laughing at me silently in the background. So yeah, so that's why that didn't work. So let's go back and actually fix that real quick. So we want it to do inside the unit sphere. Do we have inside unit circle? Let's see. Random dot inside. Yeah, they do. We'll just do inside unit circle. And we'll cast this to a vector 3. Now let's see how this works. The other option is we could just flatten the Z to 0 after getting in a position. There we go, that worked. And now we have 2 asteroids. We have... Looks like it's becoming a game. Yay. Oh, goodness. Vigorously... No! Feels just like the real asteroids. So there's a check we're not doing that probably we should be doing. I may add it in a second here, but there's the potential that these things could spawn right on top of the player, and that would suck. But you know, that's just sometimes how it goes. And the original asteroids actually had that bug in it. Like if you got to a new level, like it guaranteed that there wouldn't be an asteroid on your player, but not much else. And we'll probably do about the same thing, where basically if it's... No! That was cool. Wow, chain reaction. Bam! I might just beat the whole game just by waiting here long enough. That would be very difficult considering there's no end to the game, but...
You just get a ton of asteroids.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, so... let's see, what are we doing next? Let's go ahead and do asteroids per level, and we'll just round it up. So we'll do like public. Actually, let's do public int minimum asteroids. We'll set this to 3. That seems reasonable. And then let's set the asteroids per level to be, let's see, so if we got to level 3, is this going to make any sense? Yeah, let's just do public float asteroids per level. And let's make this 0.75, I don't know. How about we call it additional? So on level 2, we'll round down. So on level 2 it'll be 3 asteroids still. On level 3 it'll be 4 asteroids, and it'll just go up a little bit slower. I think this will work. I think this will work pretty nicely. So what we'll do here is level times additional asteroids per level plus minimum asteroids. And let's see if this let's see what this does first. Nope. Did it spawn 4? Don't even know they're heading each other before it even happens. Yeah, it spawned 4. So wasn't expecting that. So that's 0.75. So that's level times additional asteroids per level. I guess that rounded up automatically. I don't know how these things work. Alright, so rounded up. I'm okay with that. Whatever.
You can do a math F round.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it explicit. Math F dot round
To int.
to int. Yeah, that'll actually make it function like, well, at least I know how it'll function, so. So this one definitely should show 4 asteroids. If we set it to 0.49, we'll show 3 asteroids. Let's try that actually. Or did it just do 3 asteroids for some reason?
That's confusing.
No, it did 4.
Did it?
They're just spawning and killing themselves really badly. We'll have to fix that. So, how can we fix that? I wonder... Yeah, I have a feeling that instantiate is not as immediate as it needs to be for me to do one of the techniques I want to do. But I may try it anyway, just to see if it works. So, let's see. Check for a collision. We could do a raycast. No, that won't make perfect sense. How do we get the asteroids to spawn in such a way that they are no longer spawning in places that an asteroid has already spawned? I'll go back to this one. I'm spending too much time on this stupid thing anyway. Let's also do in the update loop. Let's put some logic for actually no, in the start loop. Let's make it so that the enemy ships have a chance to spawn. So invoke. Let's do this after spawn asteroids. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it after. Invoke spawn ship. Spawn enemy ship. And the time. Actually, we're going to do invoke. Yeah, we'll just do invoke. And the time, we want to figure out something. So let's see. Public float. Time before enemy ship. We're going to just have these things come after a certain amount of time while you're on a specific level. So no randomness. We could put some randomness in there, but I'm just going to do it as a set time. So let's make it 60 seconds and to start, and then we'll change it per level. Maybe like have it every 2 levels or something. I don't know. Public float. Time before enemy ship is 60. Public float. Time divisor. Before enemy ship. Alright. That's a very long thing. We're just going to make this 0.75. So every time it'll take off 75% of that timer. So spawn enemy ship and time before enemy ship. And we haven't actually written spawn enemy ship, so let's do that real quick. Spawn enemy ship. And void. All this is going to do is basically what this thing does, except we're going to spawn it. Yeah, we'll just do what this thing does. Kind of wanted to come off the screen though. Yeah, we'll change that in a second. But so we need enemy ship public, game object enemy ship, and what are we doing with this? We're going to change this to enemy ship. We're going to say spawn enemy ship. And what else? What else? It's a good start. Let's make the spawn radius a little bit bigger. Let's do this to like, I don't know, 20. Because if it spawns outside, it'll actually wrap into the inside automatically anyway, so it's not like you can spawn it outside the level. So, all compiler errors have to be fixed. What did I do? Need an F there. Alright, so let's actually set the enemy ship before we forget, and we can't do that yet because there's another compiler error. Oh, this needs to be a string. Any more? Anything else? Alright, so that worked, though we want to make sure to put our enemy ship in there. It won't know that there's a problem until it actually tries to spawn it. So let's, oh yeah, what did we want to do? We wanted to make it so once we instantiate the enemy ship, we want to invoke this again. And then when we beat a level, I'm going to actually make a function for this. Void next level. Just for organization's sake. So we're going to just call next level from here. Throw this logic in here. We're going to cancel our invoke, so cancel invoke. This cancels all invokes. You can also cancel them specifically by invoke name. And then what else we're going to do? We're going to set up a new invoke. And we're not going to do time before enemy ship. We're just going to do time before enemy ship times. Time before enemy ship multiplier. Is that what I called it? Times level. And divided by, I mean. No, times. So let's see if that makes sense. 0.75 times 2 will not do what we want. So divided by level? No. This is, yeah, I'm just having a bad code day for some reason. Bear with me, folks. Time before enemy ship multiplier times level will not get me what I want. If I divide... let's check calc. Actually, 0.75 times 2 is 1.5. So that's not going to help us. 0.75 divided by 2 is 0.375. That's a lot. Times 0.75. What I want to do is do times 0.75 times 0.75. Oh, okay. Times, let's say 60. How about 60 times 0.75 times 0.75? So it does the same thing, right? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. So we want to actually multiply this by itself. So we're doing squaring, or actually... so what's the easiest way to do this? Is there a power? Probably there's a power function. So multiplier. So let's try mathf. Mathf usually contains a lot of good stuff. Power. Pow. There we go. Pow. F and P. How very descriptive. But that's probably good enough for me. So F, I'm assuming, is the float that represents what we're multiplying by itself, and P is the power, so we'll just put level here. So this should do what we want. And I'm probably missing, let's see, pow, yeah, I'm missing one more of these. Alright, 30 minutes in, and we got kind of levels going on. Maybe we even have enemies spawning, so let's see how this goes. Okay, well, that's... Nope, stop. Okay, I gotta remember, whenever Grey Goo starts happening, I haven't saved my scene, and I should not allow that. So, variable enemy ship of level manager has not been assigned. Oh! I assigned it to Asteroid for some reason. And then it had a script error, so it just was like, oh, I'll just keep spawning asteroids until we figure out what's going on here, and that didn't go so good. That was terrifying. Alright.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Alright, there we go. So let's see if I can survive for 1 minute. I'm going to use the old tried and true technique of never using the thruster. And hope that there's no asteroids that decide to spawn on top of me. Oh dear. Now we play the waiting game. I'm going to wait for a little bit extra time and see if our enemy shows up, and then I'm going to try and best him in Mortal Kombat. This thing's going to hit me, isn't it? Okay. Oh, he got me. But he did spawn, and that was probably about a minute. I wasn't paying close attention, but that felt like a minute to me. Alright, cool. So that works. Let's try again, except for this I'm going to clear the level really quickly and then see if it's less than a minute. I reset the timer at the beginning of the level, so basically they're designed to punish the player if they're complacent with just waiting. And so they can get away with it in the first level because you can beat the first... Oh, no. Well, let's see how long it takes. It's 8:35. That doesn't really help us too much because it doesn't have seconds up there, but let's see if it feels like about 0.75 last time. It's really difficult to tell when you're just looking at things, isn't it? There's nothing that could be wrong with my math. I mean, you've seen how I've been coding today. There's no way I could have a mistake in there. So, there. That looked like about 45 seconds. I don't know. I'm going to call that one good. Alright, so... Actually, that was probably less than 45 seconds. It better have been because... No. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. Alright, it's working. And I didn't have to teach anyone about singletons, although I'm going to do that. I swear I'm going to do a singleton lesson at some point. But this game is simple enough that it kind of doesn't allow for that. So let's add some sound, because as I said, code's not going so freely, so let's just play around with some stuff real quick. And then I'm going to see about fixing our issues of asteroids being spawned right on top of you. Maybe get the enemies coming from the side of the screen rather than spawning in the middle. So, well, let's start with some music first, or not music, some sounds. So, what are we looking for? SFXer is my favorite thing. SFXR online. I like showing this one because there are versions for various platforms, and they're all really good. Like I use the one on my iPhone a lot. But I always go with the online one because I am sure that if you have a computer, you can use this one. Like, I don't have to worry about finding you a port or anything, or saying, well, if you're on PC, get it here, or if you're on Mac, get it here. Just this will work. So let's see. Let's do some lasers first. Let's get a nice little laser sound. Phil probably can't hear my sounds.
But that's alright, I can imagine.
I kind of like that one. It's got something to it. That might be really repetitive. All of them may be really repetitive when I get to... Let's mutate this one. Mutate. I like that. Has kind of a clip at the end, though. I don't know if that's my headset or if that's the sound. Is there a way I can clean that up a little bit? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. That looks pretty good. So let's export a wave. I'm just going to throw it on my desktop. And call this one shoot. Wave. And let's make an explosion. I love this thing. Ooh, I kind of like that. I'm going to use this for player death, actually. Because it sounds like it has a negative connotation to it. I know that sounds stupid to associate things like that with sounds, but... so, player death. Do some more explosions. That's a good one for the enemy dying. I think I'm going to do that one. Enemy death. We're going to have to make them explode really nicely, too, to fit these wonderful sound effects we're adding. And now we need one for an asteroid. What's a good asteroid being destroyed? Oh, that last one was good. I hate when I do that, where I'm just like, oh, the last one was good, and I'm like, I can't really go back. Actually, that's one of the fun things about the Mac version, although the Mac version does not work well on modern Macs anymore, unfortunately, but it does keep a history of all of them, so you can just click back through them. Ooh, I like that one, but it's a bit much. It's mutated a little bit. That's too powerful. That could work. Yeah, let's go with that one. Asteroid Death. There's no one joining our channel, is there? That's sad. No one's watching us live.
I'm here if anyone comes.
Yeah. Alright, so we've got explosions, we've got shooting sounds. I'm going to use the same shooting sound for the player as I am for the enemy, because I use the same bullets anyway. We've got the asteroids exploding, we've got the player dying. I think that covers it. Unless we want to do something for like when the level changes. Let's do one for when the level changes too. Let's do like let's just do a random. Yeah, I like that. That's a very Williams arcade sound right there. Level complete. Alright, so let's get all these plugged in. So what we're going to do is we're going to first import all of our little waves. And because Unity's awesome, all you have to do to import them is just drag them in. The amount of work that would take on a lot of other platforms is kind of insane. You'd have to convert them and make sure that they're appropriate or anything. All that's handled by Unity. So I'm going to create a folder to organize this. We're going to call this Sounds. And in prefabs, I'm going to create a new folder called Sound Prefabs. Do we need that? Yeah, we'll need that for the explosions and stuff, definitely. So let's, so for the bullets, we can probably just get away with just putting this is the simplest case, so we can probably just put a sound audio source on these and throw shoot onto it and play on awake, and it should just work immediately. So this is a super easy case. Yeah, you can hear it, although it's really quiet.
It's because it's 3D sound.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me about that. So Phil mentioned that it's 3D sound, and that's true, so I need to make sure this thing has a long freaking range. So
or you could change it to 2D sound as well.
I could change it to a 2D sound, but I like having 3D. I'm going to just make this thing go 15 at least. Much better. Because it's 3D, it'll move over to the right and to the left. I like that. Alright, so that's that. Let's see. Other ones are a little bit trickier. So, on enemy death, let's see. We currently are using what to kill the enemies? Let's find out. Enemy ship script. Oh, it's probably in the bullet that's doing it, isn't it? Destroy after time. No. Oh, it is. It's in the enemy. I forgot. I just made this monolithic script for the enemy for some reason. So let's see what we got in here. I'm going to actually probably split this out just because I like it to be split out. So, change direction, shoot, update, start. No, it's not in here. Where is it? don't see a non-collision error here. Unless my brain's not working. Can our enemy ship even die right now? Just throw one in. And it doesn't have to be right on top of me like that. Seems like a bad place for it to be. Bad roll.
Reroll.
Yeah, definitely died. Treasure time, audio source, box collider. Oh, that's right. That's right. Because we have destroyed parent on collision because we have these things, so it's not handled by it. Okay, cool. Let's make one called Gib parent on collision. So it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. I'm going to actually duplicate this one. And we're going to call it Gib. Or Jib, I don't know. Whatever. Pick your poison on that one. And we're going to have it so that it... let's see, public game object array gives public I'm going to do this a little differently than I've done it before, and actually this solves a problem that I've had before. So I usually do gibs and then I do it in amount because I'm lazy, so that I can just put one gib in there and then make a whole bunch of them and then don't have to worry about it. But the problem with that is this is a really good place to spawn sound objects because when this happens, the ship no longer exists, but you need something to emit the sound, so you can't just play the sound on the ship. So you instead create a small object that is invisible that just has a sound associated with it, and you spawn it. And so we can do that in the gibs. The problem with that is if I have an amount, it's going to play that sound like 30 times on top of itself, and it gets really loud and really obnoxious, and it takes up extra CPU time that we don't need to be taking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a float array. No, sorry, int array, and call it amount. Maybe I should call them amounts. And this will just correspond one-to-one with the game object. So whatever's in the first slot for the game object is going to be affected by the first slot of this. Let's see. That should work. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to... Let's see... Yeah, that's all we really need to do. Oh yeah, now we want some explosion force and stuff like so. Explosion force, public float explosion force, public float explosion radius, and I'm going to do one more up here. Public float. Spawn radius. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we do want to destroy the parent game object, but we also want to do something cool, which is spawn all our stuff. So for each gib, game object gib in gibs. We're going to need to track an int as well, so I'm going to go ahead and do an int I outside of it, and this is going to be at the bottom, I++. I do this before I forget because it's amazing how long you can spend looking for logic related to just assuming that you had an I that is changing every time, and it's not. So, and you could totally miss it. You could be like, oh, I didn't notice that. So, game object gib instance equals instantiate gib transform dot position plus random dot inside unit circle. Actually, we'll do sphere. We'll do 3D explosions. Unit sphere times spawn radius. And quaternion identity. As game object gib instance dot rigid body. This is just a check. If it doesn't have a rigid body, it won't do this, and so you won't get little errors. So if it has a rigid body, if gib instance dot rigid body, we're going to gib instance dot rigid body dot apply add explosion force transform dot position explosion radius. One of these days I'm going to have one of these I really like, and I'm planning on having like a collection of scripts for people to pull from at some point, but and I actually do have one kind of, but it's not really official yet, so I'm still kind of playing around with that idea. So we apply that explosion force, that's cool, and oh yeah, we want the okay, so alright, so for j equals int j equals 0, j is less than amount I j plus plus. I'm using j. I really should just start getting in the habit that no one is in of not using I or j and actually having it mean something. So I'm actually going to do that. We're going to do it right now. Because you don't have to do I. I's for just laziness sake. We're going to call this game object, gib slot, gib index. That's what we want. Index is good. So we're going to use gib index. And then this one's not going to be called j. We're going to call it amount index. These are just variables like anything else, and you can be descriptive with them or not. Traditionally, like if you're just doing a bunch of nested if statements, you might just do like I, j, k, l. They start from I because I means iterator or index, and then they do j, k, and l because they happen to happen after I, which is about as arbitrary as you can get. And yet you'll see professors and programmers and stuff do this all the time. And it's okay, but it's one of those things that they always say to use descriptive terms, and they'll never use them for these. So I'm going to try and get in that habit. So we already have amount index plus plus. So what we want to do is that's it. That's all we need to do. All right. So this should give us the right thing. Now, this makes an assumption that we have amounts in each category, so we can do some bad things. Straight parent on collision. Oh, whoops. Gib parent on collision. So now on our ship, we're going to remove the destroy parent on collision. We're going to add gib. No, we're not. Gib index equals 0. We were using it before we were assigning it. I hit play. I didn't actually want to hit play. Alright. So now we're going to hit the inspector again. Add gib parent on collision to these. We're going to do gibs. Oh, we didn't set some default values, so I'm going to do 500. Collision radius, we're going to make 1.0 f. Spawn radius, we're going to make 0.5 f. These are decent default values. We'll be tweaking them, but I just like to have default values. So let's reset this real quick. Make sure that those took. There we go. And so we need gibs. So let's make what's called a we'll just create a little. We'll have the enemies explode red. We're almost out of time here. We'll just get the enemy exploding. Once we get, yeah, we'll do one more episode of this. I want to clean it up, and I want to add some special fun and effects and stuff. Sorry that if this is kind of dragging at this point because it's asteroids, but I also am kind of being more complete on this one than other projects, and I think you guys probably appreciate that. If not, that's what we're doing anyway. So. No one's here to tell me otherwise in the channel, so if you guys want me to do different stuff, get in the channel while it's live and tell me, hey, don't do that. I want to learn this. So we're going to create a cube because I just love cubes for gibs because you can render them easily. And we're just going to make it red. So it's going to be the same red that the enemy uses. I'm going to call this enemy gib. Gonna make it really small. I'm gonna go with 0.15. And we're going to add a rigid body to it. I don't want to use gravity because, well, maybe I do. No, let's just make it 0 grav. And I'm gonna create a prefab of it, delete it. We're going to go to our enemy ship. Both the capsule and the cube. We're going to drag our. Actually, I'm going to lock this. Oh, it doesn't let me do that. We're going to drag enemy gib into gibs. And we're going to put 10 of those. Oh, whoops. Size 2. So the first one is going to have 10. And the second one we're going to do 1. And the second one is going to be our enemy death sound. So I'm just going to create real quickly a. Maybe I can just create a prefab and edit this. Component sound. Okay, can't just do that. That'd be too easy. So we're going to create an empty game object. No, empty. Game object. Add our audio source to it. We're going to put our enemy death on it. Going to make it really far, so we're going to make this minimum distance 15. And we're going to call this enemy death sound. Play on awake, that's good. We're going to create a prefab. Going to delete this. We're going to go back into our capsule cube, put enemy death sound as the second thing in the gibs. And so, in theory, we should be able to kill the enemy and he'll explode and make a sound. It worked. So it looked like there was gravity on it, but I don't think there was. Oh, there was. Okay. Let's do that, and let's make it... Do I have the destroy after time? Yeah, let's do this on the enemy gib. And we probably don't want this thing to collide with anything, so I'm just going to remove the mesh collider entirely. And we'll make them last 1 second. And let's see how this looks again. I may take the power down so this is a smaller explosion, but... That looked pretty cool, actually. Alright, it's 9. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night. We got some work done. We got some levels. We have enemies making noise. Do we actually have this on the prefab? Good. This is all set up right. So if I was to delete this, the ones that spawn in, I'm just going to do one more quick little test, make sure that they spawn in, maybe beat the level. Yeah, I'm satisfied. Save scene. Anyway. Thank you for joining me tonight. Well, thank you for joining me in the future when you come and watch this video. Because no one's with me tonight.
Except for me.
Well, Phil's here. Yeah, you count. You count. Yeah. Thank you for joining me, Phil.
You're welcome.
All right, I appreciate
Pleasure being
that.
here.
I really do. Standard stuff. Email me at wherever my email is. Email screen. There we go. PushyPixels at pushypixels.com and buy Proton Pulse. We are there is a free version. It's been submitted to Apple, ad supported. I'm just giving you a heads up. So if you guys don't have money to spend $4 on my Proton Pulse game, there will be a free version with ads. It's not been reviewed yet for whatever reason by Apple, and Apple is screwed up. I have a new version of Proton Pulse that has finger offsets and nice stuff, but it's not showing up properly on their stuff right now. So I'm going to get that resolved, but hopefully that'll be sometime soon. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and good night.
Have a good night.